all having a wonderful day and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial, I'm going to do a really fun fall makeup look here. I'm really focusing on the eyes and lips today. I was really inspired. I got this candle from Bath & Body Works and the candle holder, and it's just like super fall and so fun. So I was really inspired by it, you know, with the whole aesthetic, and so I decided to create this makeup look to match my candle. I know, like really random, I was inspired by my candle, but you know what? I'll take any inspiration these days. And I use some of the more like vibrant shades from this Makeup Geek palette that I just kind of like popped in myself. It's not really like a palette, but you guys can use any shadows that you have at home, and I'll be showing you guys step by step how to create this eyeshadow look, and then also be topping it off with this lipstick. This is the Too Faced Melted Matte Pumpkin Spice lipstick. So really we have like lots of like pumpkin spice colors going on here, and I'm just really excited for fall, and I was feeling really cozy today, especially because it's like really blustery outside. You can't see it, but just trust me, it's Seattle, and it's very typical Seattle weather where it's just blustery and cold, and I just want to be really cozy, and I want my makeup to match. So I hope you guys are excited for this pumpkin spice fall makeup tutorial, and let's jump into it. I went ahead and did one eye off camera just to get like a feel for what I was doing, because at first I really wasn't sure. I also decided to go in with this Makeup Geek palette. I have this in both like the fun vibrant shades and the neutral shades, and I was gonna do the neutral shades, but I was like, you know what, I needed to use this more, and I absolutely love it. So I went ahead and decided to use this palette. Also, I don't know the names of these off the top of my head because the names are on the back and I don't have to take them out, so I will go ahead and figure that out afterwards and link the names of the shades on camera, but I will also describe them to you because I feel like we're all in a spot right now where we probably have lots of makeup, or we already have makeup palettes, and if you're feeling like me, there's just a lot going on right now, and I really don't want to go out and buy more makeup. So I will list the names of these shadows if you are interested. I really love using the shadows, but I will also kind of describe them, so if you have something similar at home already, you could just follow along with that. I love doing that, and I think that's great. I know the James Charles palette from Morphe, I've done a couple tutorials with that one, and there are some shades in there that would be somewhat similar to these. So again, just use what you have and just figure it out, and if it's not perfect match, it's okay. I'll just explain the placement and the shadows and all that, so hopefully you guys can follow along. Starting off, I'm taking this kind of like orange soda shade here in the upper, well, it doesn't really matter where it is because I placed it there myself, and I'm taking this on the Sephora number 27 blending brush. And I'm just popping that right into my upper crease area. And this is gonna be a shadow that you won't really see much in the end, but what we're doing is we're creating a nice base. So that way when we pop on these shadows here, it'll have more of like an ombre effect, and it won't be like a stark contrast. You want it to look really nice and blended. So again, being pretty messy with this and kind of going in like just kind of circular motions, but really keeping that right above my crease there. Okay, so originally I picked up this shade next, which is definitely more of an orange color. I'm gonna skip ahead and go down into this shade here. It's still more orange, but it's a little bit more rust colored than the other one. The other one was more like yellow orange. This is more like red orange, I'd say, and not as deep as this one. So the shades also, I probably should mention this. The shades I'm going to use is just that one. Again, you can use really any base color, and kind of like these three right through here, and also a little bit of this deep purple shade. Instead of using like a dark brown, I use that to kind of deepen it up. And then I also use a little bit of that green color in the inner corner on the brow bone, and then I also use these two shades right here in the middle. But again, you can work with whatever you have. I'm sure there's so many palettes out there that have shimmer shades like that, or even like warm undertones. You don't need to use like 5 shades. You could use like 3 to kind of create this like ombre look, and maybe just 1 on the lid. I just want to create something, you know, using what I had, but feel free to adjust it as needed. So again, picking up that kind of rusty shade there, same brush. Love these shadows because I feel like they blend out so well, and they also have like a ton of pigment. I'm gonna place this right above where my crease is. Just kind of run that back and forth. Look at that, that's like so much pigment. And while there's still like a lot of pigment, I'm just kind of keeping that concentrated right there above my crease. But then once there's less, I will start to kind of blend it outwards and upwards. I don't really want to bring this down. I want to keep this area pretty sparse and bare, because I'm going to pop on the shimmer shades afterwards. Just bringing that out a little bit too. So I'm not trying to round it down necessarily. I'm okay kind of bringing that outwards. Kind of creating a line from the midpoint of my brow out to the tail of my brow. I'm actually going to switch to a smaller brush. This is the Morphe M433 brush. And I'm picking up that same shade again, just barely tapping into it. This is how much pigment you get just from like barely tapping in. These shadows are really nice. I feel like Makeup Geek, like people don't really talk about it as much as they used to, but their shadows are still incredible. I'm just kind of patting this on in the lower portion of my eye. First patting it on like that, and you can see how pigmented it is. And once there's less pigment, then I'll kind of start blending that in the outer corner. Kind of doing like a 7 almost, creating that shape. Really concentrating those colors to the outer portion, not going past like this halfway point on my eye. And then once there's less product again, I'll start to softly blend that together so again looks more seamless, but I still want the majority of that pigment to be on the outer portion. I'm gonna go in next with this darker rust color here, really concentrating that on the tip of this brush. This brush isn't super like wide, it's still pretty narrow. So using that to my advantage, I'm going to really pack that on into the outer corner of my eye. And I'm trying to keep this shade a little bit lower and not bringing it up super high. So that way the deepest part of the look is just kind of right here in this outer corner. And then still kind of tapering this out slightly. And then bringing it slightly in towards the middle. And then the last shade I'm gonna take for now is this deeper kind of pink. It's kind of pink. It's more like a plum or like a rose colored shadow. And again, using the same brush, just using the smallest amount on the tip of that brush, just picking that up and just kind of tapping that again right at the lower lash line. Or not the lower lash line, the upper lash line, but right towards the outer portion of that to really deepen it up. I'm also gonna bring this actually in a little bit towards the inner corner here, just to kind of deepen it up. And again, just add some more definition and depth to really define my eye shape. So I'm kind of bringing that in, but I'm just kind of stopping right here. I'm not going all the way down. I'm just kind of barely going where that bone is of that bridge of my nose. That's actually helped me out a lot, is just figuring out like eye shapes, and I feel like sometimes it's hard to explain, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's hard to understand. But if you feel on your face where the bone is, that's kind of where you're going with the shadow, is you're basically placing it right along the bone. So I can feel my bone right here, and even right through here where I put the shadow. So that's kind of typically where you want to put those darker shadows, is right along your orbital bone. So if you feel like maybe your eye shape is a little bit different than mine, try feeling for your orbital bone and placing the shadow there and right above it to really make that bone appear to be more defined. I forgot to mention too, I did use primer. I used the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion that they sent to me, so thank you Urban Decay. And I also am now going to use the Too Faced glitter glue that I just bought today with the lipstick. I love this, and I couldn't find it anywhere after I moved in with my husband 5 months ago, 6 months ago. Wait, when was this? Back in May? I don't know how many months ago that was. Probably about 4. But regardless, when I moved in, I seem to have lost my primer potion or my glitter glue. And so I decided to go out and buy some more of it because I absolutely love it. Even if you're not using like glitter, just a shimmer, it just makes it pop so much more. So I'm going to pick that up on a brush. This is the Morphe brush. Doesn't say what number, but it looks like this, just like a little flat brush, and it's really soft. I'm going to I put some of the primer on the back of my hand. I'm just going to kind of dip into that and then use that to kind of cut my crease. So I kind of start in the middle, and then the furthest point out I want it to come, I will kind of drag inwards. So I'll kind of press down, drag inwards. So that way you can really make that a sharp line, rather than if you kind of did up and around, or I just feel like sometimes it just helps create that shape a little bit better. If you go as high as you want to and then drag down, I feel like there's less room for error in creating that shape. I will lightly go into where we have those darker shadows. We will actually bring those shadows on top of it later on, but I like to lay down the shimmers first and then add those back in. And then I'm going to take first this shade here. Honestly, you could use like a gold color, that would be really pretty, or a bronze color. I'm taking this shade here. It's like more of like a reddish shimmer shadow. It has like, you know, hints of orange in it. Taking that on my ring finger and just pressing into that and just picking up the pigment and then just pressing that on to the mid part of my lid. And you can see how vibrant that is. And then I will use the brush, because again, with this glitter glue, I feel like even using a brush, you can still get the shadows pretty pigmented. And I'll use the brush on the more detailed areas like on the kind of where the darker shadows meet, the matte shadows meet with the shimmer shadows. And then I'll tap on the smallest amount with that ring finger over those darker shadows, but not too far in. I don't want to go all the way, just maybe almost all the way. And again, if you go too far, we'll be cleaning it up afterwards. So don't worry, just try really hard not to go too far into it, so we can still see a little bit on the outer side. And then on the inner corner, I did use a different shadow. I used this lighter one here, but again, you can use the same shadow, or sometimes palettes have multiple shimmer shadows, so just use one that's a little bit lighter. Picking that up with my pinky finger, I'm just kind of pressing that on like that, and then using the brush again to just kind of carve out the spot where we laid down the primer, just so I could create that really sharp edge. And then the last shimmer I'm using, and I'll probably just use my ring finger again, is this really pretty green color here. Picking that up and just kind of popping that in to the inner corner. And I feel like it adds such a fun effect because it has just enough color where you can see that it's green, but almost like illuminates it. I actually take that same brush and pick up that green shadow and just place it right underneath our brow bone. And you totally don't need to do this. I don't even know if people still do this where they highlight their brow bone area, but I just thought it'd be fun to tie in the fun green color. And really just kind of concentrating this right underneath the high point of my brow, running it out towards the tail, and then kind of slightly dragging it downwards to kind of blend it out. One of the last things I'm going to do is pick up another brush. You could still use that Morphe, was this M433 brush? Yeah, you could still use this brush if you wanted to. This one's just a little bit smaller. This is the Morphe M506 brush. Picking up that deep berry shade, so the last shade we used again. And I'm just really gonna start layering that back over where we place those shimmers to kind of blend them together. I feel like this really helps to create, actually I take that back, I'm gonna actually use the Morphe M433 brush. I'll use a shade lighter. I'm gonna use this shade here, kind of like pumpkin color. And there we go. And I'm going to just kind of like lightly tap that where those two shadows meet. So that way the shimmer is still showing through underneath a little bit, and it creates an easier ombre look. I feel like this is easier to do. You have that ombre effect, but it's pretty simple where you're just kind of like layering the two different types of shadows. Then in the outer corner, I'm going to do that step again, where I'm taking the deep berry shade on the Morphe M506 brush and just using that to kind of press that in and really define the outer portion of my eye. Lastly, what we're going to do is I am taking my Thrive Cosmetics eyeliner smudge brush, so just kind of getting a smudge brush or something that has it's really short bristles or really defined, just so you can really get in there and add some definition. I'm taking this really fun deep purple shade, and I'm going to start packing that along my waterline where my lashes are. Just kind of pressing that in. Almost like where you put on eyeliner. And I really love doing this effect with shadows rather than liquids, like a liquid liner. I feel like it's a lot easier to control. And you can also smudge it out as well to kind of create this almost like messy look, but it still looks very like soft and subtle. Then I'm also going to kind of slightly wing that out and just kind of follow the shape that we already created with the eyeshadow. And really just packing it on to kind of deepening it up, not using any other colors. And we will be going on with lashes, so we'll kind of partially hide it. And then using the same brush, so I'm going to actually clean it off first. If you don't have makeup remover, you can always just take a tissue and just kind of wipe it off. Most of it came off anyways. Then taking this oranger rusty color here, the second color we use, packing that on the brush and just placing that right underneath my eye. And kind of just starting in the middle and then bringing that towards the outer portion, not really bringing it too far inwards. I'll actually pick up this yellow shade here and use that for the inner corner. And then picking up that same plum shade and using that to really define the outer portion of the eye underneath. So starting on the farthest point outside and then bringing that in, but not too far in, maybe just keeping it to the outer third or outer fourth of the eye. But that's it for the eyeshadow, so let me go ahead and pop on my false lashes and I will come right back. Now that my false lashes are on and my lips are freshly plumped, I'm going to go ahead and go in with the lipstick. Again, oops, almost dropped it. This is the Too Faced Melted Matte Pumpkin Spice lipstick, and it doesn't smell like pumpkin spice, I'd say. It just smells like their normal lipsticks do. Like just kind of like, you know, just sugary. But I'm going to put this on. Oh yeah, this is a nice color. I'd say it's lighter than the other one, the Gingerbread Girl one. That one's a little bit darker. I feel like it's pulling more like vibrant on the camera than it is in real life, because it looks almost like pink on the camera in real life. It definitely is more like a muted orange. Wow, that's such a nice color. But that's it. That's the finished look with everything all together. I love how it turned out. It definitely is more vibrant than my candle. I feel like my candle has like more brown colors. But I should have showed you guys this earlier. This is what my neutral palette, self-created palette looks like with Makeup Geek, and I thought about using some of these like warmer colors here, like even these ones, but I'm really glad I went for more of a vibrant look. But again, you guys can like mix and match with this. You can make it as vibrant as you like. You can use whatever shadows you like. I really love using the Makeup Geek shadows just because I feel like there's a lot of variety, but I do feel like too that these are pretty common shadows in most like fall theme palettes or just like smoky eye palettes in general. I feel like you can find colors similar to this. So if you guys want to recreate that with one of those shadows or one of those types of palettes, go for it. So that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you guys loved it. I was really feeling, you know, the fall cozy pumpkin spice vibes, and I feel like that definitely comes across in this makeup look. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I feel like I never like plug that at the end, but who knows, maybe you like watching my videos but you haven't subscribed yet, and you'll definitely want to because I have some really fun makeup videos coming out for Halloween and fall that I'm really excited about. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!